go.
You got to
Not bad for 42.
Next year, get the strides off.
So we spent half an hour just sitting in this bar, having a ciggy and a beer with a monkey.
The reason why I was so tall is because my parents used to put a microwave next to my head when I was asleep at night to help me grow. So that's the story. I'll live with it and I'll spread it like that. So my old man will be at home with a smile on his face.
Well, that is good advice this week because we are taking the show on the road. We are coming to you from Brisbane ahead of Magic Round, and we've got plenty of fans who have turned out to catch a glimpse of Freddy in the 8th as well. We are proudly brought to you by Sportsbet. Andrew Johns and Brad Fittler alongside me. Good to see you both.
Appropriate. Half the crowd has escaped from a mental institution and also rehab.
And the other half are Johns. They're all Johns family members.
How good is this? It's a very exciting time leading up to Magic Round. The weather's great. Everyone's out and about.
It's like 20-odd degrees.
Yeah, good to see some good weather. The ground definitely needs it, but have a look at the love. Monday.
I know.
Awesome.
Yep. All right, we've got a huge show coming up for you. So we're going to preview State of Origin, Women's State of Origin, which kicks off this week on Thursday night. Tickets are still available as well, so make sure you head online and catch your tickets today. We're going to be chatting with two Queensland legends, Darren Lockyer and Jonathan Thurston, join the panel. Josh Kerr from the Dolphins, he's going to be joining us. We're going to be talking to him about a lot. He's a fan favourite here as well. Plus, we're going to be previewing all the Magic Round matches as well.
Is Josh bringing any kitchen appliances?
He is. He's going to bring the magic microwave that got into the height that he is.
You could have done with one of them.
What for?
Was there no microwave in the Johns household?
I could go somewhere with that.
Yeah, no, you can. We're up late at night.
No, we couldn't afford one.
Oh. You made it sad. All right, well, a big talking point. Before we get into the fun of the show, we are going to be talking, one of the big talking points in the game at the moment. There were 18 sin bins across the round that just unfolded across the weekend. And the NRL has come out today saying that they're not going to actually go back and play anymore for high tackles with the bunker unless it is a serious offence. Joey, you were quite vocal about this. You actually put down the mic for the last 23 minutes of the Tigers-Sharks game in sort of a protest, I guess.
Just another sookie pants moment.
Well, it was a moment of frustration.
It's frustrating. It was doing my head in. I just wanted to throw the microphone. So I left it up to Freddy and the tank. They unloaded. But yeah, well, common sense prevailed. And we had Andrew Abdo on 100% footy. A lot of big words being said, a lot of corporate stuff, corporate jargon. But at the end of the day, the bunker, not as much power over the game.
Well, let's have a listen to what Andrew Abdo had to say a little earlier on 100% footy.
Obviously, we've seen some frustration from the fans, and you heard Joey voice his frustration there, which we completely understand and we get, and we're not tone deaf to that. And I acknowledge that there were some errors this weekend, errors in the application, and there were some sin bins that shouldn't have been sin bins, and perhaps there were a couple that, probably should have been sin bins. So we need to get that right, and we will work on that, and that feedback will go back to the referees. And certainly the point around the bunker intervention, I think we've heard that loud and clear. That is actually meant for really serious or significant foul play, and I think that bar has been too low, and you'll see that adjusted going forwards.
So that's one adjustment that we are going to see. What else do you think needs to happen?
I think the bunker, things like when two players go up to catch a ball, just show it in real time. Have a look at it twice. If someone touches their little finger, and goes into the other player, who cares? Just show it in real time. Same as when a ball's bouncing on a grubber kick. Someone dives on the ball, just show it in real time. I understand when the ball is close to the dead ball line, but you use super slow motion there. But the super slow-mo, it paints a different picture. Every time the ball goes in the air, it feels like we're looking for a reason not to give the try. Just show it in real time.
And
looks like a try.
Do you think also you need to take into account the fact that there are going to be collisions?
There's going to be accidents.
There's going to be accidents. That's the thing. There are going to be positions where people get their bodies into where there are going to be collisions that aren't intent, and that is something that needs to be looked at.
You can't stop accidents.
When a player falls into another player.
Well, it's about 60% to 2/3 of people getting taken off the field is because they're tackling. So the majority of these were all from people who were tackling. So it sort of tells you we're protecting the wrong person. And I think what's happened is they've just gone into overdrive on the head contact stuff. I don't know whether it's through paranoia about being sued in the future or whatever it is, but it just went way too far over the last 2 weekends. 3 weeks ago, Andrew and Graham Mansley came out and actually spoke about that. They missed a couple. Jerome Luai ended up getting a couple of weeks sidelined, and they missed that during the game. There was 3 people, I think, during that week. And from then, there was just a reaction. And that's what happens in our game a lot. There's just a reaction through criticism that we may have missed something, but at the end of the day, move on. Everyone moves on.
Moved on.
Destroyed
the
the
Magic Round's going to be sensational.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's hope we get to see it. All right, well, you know what else is sensational? One of our colleagues at the Nine Network, Jonathan Thurston, is joining us here. Now, JT, his first time. We love, you're always a watcher, though.
Always.
And he actually brought a present. What
nice
a
little gifts.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Part of his
Nice little Forex pack there for you, Joey. They're cold. Forex beer.
I'm looking for a beer. Honestly, I don't even drink Forex. I'm that thirsty at the moment.
Somebody said you were sculling one the other day.
Yeah, well, when you're a pig, you just got to take with something. Oink, oink. No, it's not a bad drop, actually.
Forex, it's not that bad. You drink them quite often at Suncorp Stadium.
Only when I'm up here, yeah. Once again. I'd drink cats, you know what, to have a beer.
Well, thank you so much, Forex.
Thanks, Forex.
Yeah, the little present for...
Forex Island, is that still a place, Forex Island?
No, I don't think it is anymore.
You'd be good on Forex Island.
Had a good.
Did you have camps there?
Yes. We did have a camp there.
What happened?
Actually, you should ask Smithy what happened. So I had a big night the night before.
Yeah.
And it was choppy. It was about a dozen of the boys just up and unders.
Was Darryl Lockyer there?
No, he was gone that time. So
okay.
How much time did you spend with Lockyer? How many years did you play with Darryl?
6, I think. 05 through to 11.
Did you see both sides of him?
When he wound up.
So for everyone tuning in, Darryl is his alter ego that comes out after a couple of Forex.
Is Lockyer still here?
He's coming on.
He's coming on the show.
I was going to say, Darren Lockyer's as boring as batshit. But Darryl's my man. Me and Darryl. Darryl and Uncle Joey's had some big nights.
What's one of your favourite Darryl moments?
I can't. He'll get run out of his state. What about
Darryl had a
Barcelona?
Barcelona.
I will save that for when.
Okay, all right. We'll save it for when Lockyer comes on the show.
The fighting cock.
Actually, Gordon was there with Darryl that day, and Wendell, Gordon, and Darryl.
What a
They represented
combo.
Queensland. They did it well. Anyway.
Now you must be looking forward to Magic Round. I feel like this is one that really gets you going. I've seen you around the stadium before. I think you've had fans come up and kiss you on the side of your face.
It's well, everyone comes to have fun. Like it's just a celebration of footy. People travel far and wide, and I like the atmosphere.
Did you play in a Magic Round?
No, it was gone by then. But yeah, I just love the atmosphere. Everyone's having a good time, whether it's the kids, the adults, everyone. So it's it's such a good time.
I always use it as an example when I'm helping the younger kids play footy and they're going, "Oh, I'm too small." I'm like, Billy Slater, Cameron Smith never played a rep team. Jonathan Thurston, he was riding track work when you were 19. You were that small. And what changed? Like honestly, a strong wind would blow you over here. Look at you.
Yeah.
Was there a change, or was this something that clicked?
Well, I moved to Toowoomba to do 11 and 12, and that's when I had a growth spurt, and ears grew too. So, but yeah, I always loved footy, and just coming through at that time was always just a little bit too small, but always loved the contact side of it as well.
How old were you there?
16, I think I was.
You remember what you weighed? You about like 45, 50 kilo?
Nah, you're more than that.
I think I debuted at just over 70, I think.
Wow.
What was that like going down to Sydney?
That was the biggest challenge. Mum grew up here in Brisbane. Mum and Dad could drive up the highway to Toowoomba and watch me play on the weekend. But moving from Toowoomba to Sydney, hadn't seen mum and dad for like 6 weeks, 2 months, and it was really hard, missing the family. So Ricky Stewart was our Jersey flag coach then and sent me home for a weekend, but he made me promise him that I'll come back.
Well, because you're that homesick.
Yeah, I had no intention of going back, and lucky for mum and dad, they pushed me on the plane to go back. And
How old were you at that stage?
19.
And where were you living?
In the Bulldogs' house.
And that's in Belmore?
Yeah, right in Belmore.
So you, Sonny Bill?
Sonny Bill, Roy Asatasi, Nate Miles, Benny Harris, Jason Williams.
Wow,
yeah, it was
some players there.
So when you think about footy at that stage, how much did it change from there to like the end of your career?
Oh, so much. I suppose, not the professionalism, but the amount of work that you put into it. So I remember in reserve grade, when we were watching video of the team, it was the VHS, and then the computer come in, and then I could watch Joey, I could watch Lockyer, I could watch me defence, I could watch all this and really break down your game to the second. And, defensively is where I really had to improve on my game. And you could watch that where you get your feet, where you can get your head into contact, your shoulder into contact and things like that. So, yeah, just the professionalism on that side, the video work that you can get.
So how much would you say study the game, watching stuff back, watching your own game back, watching your opposition?
Oh, that was most of what I did, was studying the opposition, studying my game. If I missed half a dozen tackles, then I could watch those and exactly see where I could, for my footwork, I was leaning out, things like that. So watching opposition teams was where most of it done, because then you're watching what the centre was doing defensively. If they come out to jam, things like that, you can, manipulate the defensive lines. And playing halves, I used to like telling the forwards which player to run out.
This is your debut, yeah?
Yeah, that's my
room
debut.
together. Did we room together?
Did you room together?
I think we roomed together, didn't we?
I know. Well, I heard all these stories. Heard all the stories about Joey and how much of a good time. And first week at camp, was the
it was
2000. Yeah, it was the Anzac Test.
You play the Kiwis?
Yeah, here at
We
Suncorp.
put 50 on,
yeah,
didn't we?
so and. But it was just so professional.
What was it like when you met Joey for the first time?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, clothes on.
yeah, we don't have much time.
Around him I did.
But like I said, just that professionalism that whole week between him, Lockyer and Danny Badiris.
It was a good team, wasn't it?
Yeah, yep. So just learnt so much.
What about?
Sorry, the grand final team. Why was that team so good?
2004?
Yeah. No, the 2015 team, the one you led.
I think just had blokes that were just willing to work extremely hard. We got the prelim or something the week before, but we started 0-3, and then we sort of went on a run. We beat Melbourne and Townsville. And then won 11 straight, and didn't matter what the clock was saying or what the score was saying. We just had this belief that we could score and we could get ourselves back into the game. And I think we had like 4 or 5 golden point games that we actually won on the bell or in golden point. So it gave us a lot of confidence and in the grand final. So yeah, it was so much fun.
Just before we let you go, obviously your football career was just incredible. Someone that, everyone looks back on. Did you ever think that you'd be doing this today? Sitting sideline, talking about games, going to Las Vegas, getting to ride around on cars on the track work, doing some Magic Mike?
This is living the dream. This doesn't work.
There you go.
You got to
Not
get
bad for 42.
next year, get the strides off.
He's in the wrong room.
But having a lot of fun. A lot of
Carl.
fun. That's Carl. That's around the speed track that we did. So I
That
actually
was-
paid extra to win.
You got the sunnies on the boy.
Yeah. A little dusty. Don't worry, we drove responsibly. All right, well, good to chat, JT. Looking forward to Magic Round, and thanks for joining us here. Welcome anytime.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
He's got an airline, he can fly down.
Yeah. All right, well, do not go anywhere, because guess who we've got coming up next on the show? Yes, Darren Lockyer, the alter ego Darryl as well. He joins us coming up on Freddy in the 8th.
He is the man of the moment. It's near enough to a full house. His last appearance here at Suncorp Stadium. Darren Lockyer, the kid from the country, through to legend and no doubt rugby league immortality. Salad high, and there goes Beale up above the pack.
I think he might have taken one of his own out.
Was Lockyer? He's holding his jaw, Lockyer.
They're very concerned about Darren. Here's Lockyer jogging back. Boyd, Darius Boyd has scored!
Oh, and a kick to even things up.
Brilliant.
What a kick.
12-all. And we're going into extra time. Lockyer takes a shot, it's low.
He's got it.
I think he's got it. It's an incredible scene.
And he will be shaking this up, and rightly so, Darren Lockyer. His last game in front of the faithful here at Suncorp Stadium.
Yes, there you go. Hail King Lockyer, and the crowd, well, they're certainly loving this man right now. Darren Lockyer joins us here on the panel of Freddy and the Eighth. Lockyer, good to see you. Now, you could hear your name getting mentioned off camera a little bit, couldn't you, before that?
I was in the room and I couldn't exactly hear it, but there was a bit of laughter and and someone mentioned that Darryl had been mentioned.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Having a look back at those memories, what sort of lays pretty strong in your memories?
Well, I think that was the last moment as a Bronco, that kicking that field goal. It was a bittersweet moment, really. Like we went down the following week to Manly. They went on to win the competition. But yeah, it was. I guess if I was going to finish my career at the Broncos, to do it like that, it was a nice way to finish. But at the same time, it was disappointing we couldn't go further that particular year.
Were you ever going to play against Manly in the semi? So to beat Manly, you would have gone into the grand final.
Yeah, no, I reckon up until about Wednesday I was.
Yeah, right.
And I don't think the coach or the doctor thought I'd go through with it, but then they stepped in and said, well, we can't let you play.
Yeah.
And then looking back in the end, if we had got to the grand final, I would have, they had a headgear and everything made up for me, I would have played the GF, given that was going to be my last ever game.
But it was at Warriors.
The Warriors, yeah.
So you played through sort of a lot of eras, and you went from being the best fullback in the world to the best 5'8" in the world. How was that transition?
Well, I came to the Broncos as a 5'8".
Oh, did you?
Yeah, as a young fellow. Like I played in the centres and I played 6 and I played 7 growing up. And then when I came to the Broncos and sort of got through to play first grade in 95, I think Kevy was injured. And then Alf had a bit of time out. And so I played in the halves in 95. 96, I spent most of the time coming off the bench as a utility. And then in 97, after Wayne had a bit of a clean out, Julian O'Neill moved on from the club, and he played.
Julian moved on.
I think he might have ran into you a couple of times. And then from that point on, the first time I ever played fullback was in 97, but I loved the freedom of it.
Yeah.
So, and it suited me. I was athletic at the time, but as I got older,
After your knee, you went to 5'8".
Well, no, I didn't do my knee until sort of 3 years of playing 5'8". Oh. But I think I was just ready for a different challenge, yeah. And playing 5'8", I still, at fullback, I still was someone that would be, talking a lot, organising. But when I went back to 5'8", after Kevy and Alpha retired, we'd gone around and around with a few different halves pairing, and it just suited me at the time. And as I got older, and as you guys know, it's what's between the years. In the final few years, it's more important than how quick you are.
One thing that you did really well was handle grand final week. So how many grand finals did you play in? You won them all, didn't you?
We played in 4. We won all those, and I guess Wayne obviously was a big part of how we managed that. He just, when we got to the finals, he'd just drop it down a gear. He'd just relax. Yeah, he just. Yeah, we always needed to compete on the day, but he was just someone that the hard work was done, and he just relaxed. He used to change it up a bit. He used to take us to the Swiss Grand at Bondi, remember that?
Yeah.
So we'd only stay there if we played finals.
Yeah, really?
And we loved it, yeah.
What about some of our trips away?
This is what I wanted to ask actually. Before I ask Lockyer, I want to ask Freddy and Joey, what are your favourite memories of not just Darren but also Darryl?
Well, Lockier's pretty quiet, and then we'd get out on a night out. It was just a totally different person.
You
just wind him up and just let him go.
We had a really good time in Barcelona.
Barcelona.
That was a great time. There was me, Gowie, Gerds, then there was the three I spoke about, Gordy, Wendell, Lockyer. I forget who else was there, but it was a good gang.
Yeah, half went to Barcelona and then other half went to Dublin.
Yeah.
So I went to Dublin.
It was pouring rain.
Yeah, why'd you go to
Barcelona was awesome.
Well, Barcelona, we remember we walked into the sports shop, we all bought some soccer
gloves.
We all dressed up walking down, is it called the La Rambla?
Yeah,
which is
La
the main
Rambla,
drag
yeah.
in Barcelona. So we're all walking down and we're doing...
Lockyer was the goalkeeper.
We're busking. We're having like penalty shootouts in the main drag of Barcelona, and people are putting money and stuff in the hats.
Yeah.
What about the monkey you bought in Bali?
Monkey, yeah. I told that story the other day. Yeah. People go, what do you remember about the 2000 grand final? I said, well, I remember going to Bali and we had a few drinks with the monkey.
Was the monkey on the darts too, smoking ciggy?
He was just...
Do it responsibly, kids.
I went down to a laneway and the boys had kept going. I just saw this guy with a pet monkey, and I was going to the toilet. I thought, oh, maybe I could borrow that monkey for 20 minutes. So I gave him $20 Australian, which is a lot of money, and he was on the chain. And I walked it into the bar. It went nuts for the first 2 minutes, but then after it settled down, it was there grabbing Blake's beers
and drinking the beers.
and then the owner came in and lit up a Darryl. So we spent half an hour just sitting in this bar having a ciggy and a beer with a monkey.
What was the reaction like from your mates who you were with? They would have just absolutely lost it.
They loved it. Like, the reaction was great. They loved it. I mean, I think a lot of people know that story, so it's not new, but...
we had the opportunity, lad, in our generation, like you could really build morale, couldn't you, through when you were out having a drink. Like you could party. People were very tolerant of your behaviour. Like you could do anything.
Phones, yeah.
None of those things.
Yeah.
I think when you win a grand final too, normally the Triple A, there's a lot of participation.
These 2000 and 2001, they were great trips.
They were good teams.
Great teams.
Well, my favourite memories, other than playing Origin here, are touring the Australian team, because you're there. You don't have your family with you. It's just us, and we're playing footy. We're training, and we're
training hard,
but we're also enjoying our time away from the training field. Tea parties.
So we had a tea party. Yeah. So our coach said, "Righto, you just have a drink. You can't get on the drink the next day." Like in England, there's nothing to do. So I said to the boys, "Righto, next day we'll do a recovery. Just bring your tea, big pots to my room." Sponsored off Forex. So we're sitting in the room having cups of tea. Chris Anderson would walk in and go, "Look." I got on, boss. We're sitting there all afternoon, the tea parties.
I had some pretty good mentors.
Yeah, I can imagine. Do you look back at your playing career and the era that you played in? I feel like that was probably one of the best eras that you got to experience, because as we mentioned before, you sort of did have a bit of a crossover across a couple of different eras.
Well, I think the game was less structured then. I think when Melbourne especially started to dominate, Craig's very structured. He's very disciplined with the way he plays, and I think a lot of coaches started to emulate that, and I think the game became really structured. But when I was playing with these guys especially, like, it was just play what was in front of you, and it was good to play. It was good to watch.
We couldn't let you go off the Freddy in the 8th just then showing this incident. Do you remember this at Combank Stadium, where we were doing the Sunday school and you went for a field goal?
Yeah. The old RMs.
You had the RMs on.
It's like getting a cramp. What about it's like sticking up like a honeymooner?
I could half feel that was coming. I was here to entertain. That was it.
Look at that leg.
It's so good.
Honeymooners.
I remember speaking to you about it beforehand because you were worried about the slip. You were, good sport as always. Thanks for joining us here on Freddy in the 8th. Love having you on. We'll see you a big weekend of footy.
Can you give the camera a wink? Give us one of those winks. Go. Yeah! First go!
Mate, I nailed it the first time. They just asked me to do it another
okay,
couple.
do it a second. That's so good. All right, well, looking forward to Magic Round weekend. We'll catch up with you then. But stick around on Friday the 8th. We're going to bring Darryl out. There you go. You heard it here first. We're going to be talking all things women's state of origin. Of course, that kicks off this week as well, Thursday night. So we're going to be previewing that just after the break. Yes, and Brisbane is the scene for Game 1 on Thursday night. Look at how good the city looks as well. Women's State of Origin kicking off in just a few days' time. Looking forward to that one. Of course, you can catch it all right here on Iron's Wide World of Sports. And we are joined by one of the New South Wales Blues, who is Millie Elliott. I was going to say Boyle. I always go to say this. I always get it wrong. But unfortunately, this year you won't be running out for the Blues. I can imagine you'd be somewhat disappointed, obviously, for a great reason. You are expecting a little baby on the way in September. What's it feel like to sitting back and watching this one?
Yeah, no, I'm more than happy to sit back and watch this one. Obviously, I just feel so lucky and blessed that I'm halfway through my pregnancy and everything's going so well. And I'm sure I'll get a bit of FOMO on Thursday night once the girls run out. But yeah, just really excited to watch them and can't wait. I noticed that you showed before, though, the Newcastle game. There's a little head high there, but the Newcastle game. What about the Suncorp game last year? That was a little bit better.
That was pretty awesome.
Who put the highlights together for this?
Are you involved with the team?
No, I'm not. I'm just I'm too busy with you guys.
Yeah.
Freddy, okay, my demands are high here at 9, but no, I'm just in and around whenever I see the girls, and it's just good to. Good that footy's back.
New coach, John Strange.
New coach.
How's he going to go?
Look, I think he'll be great for the team. He's so meticulous with the way that he coaches. He's so thorough, but he also wants everyone to play to their strengths. And
he was your coach at the Roosters.
Yeah. He still is the coach at the Roosters. It just Origin just finishes before the NRLW starts, but what he has done in coaching, not only at this level, but from a grassroots level all the way up, he does so much for the game, and he loves it. It's so good to see.
All right, well, let's check in because Darren Lockyer has actually caught up with some of the stars of the Women's State of Origin. So let's head over to hear from Lockyer right now.
Thanks, Danica. I'm here with Keely Davis and Yasmin Clydesdale, who are two New South Wales Blues, and you must be pretty excited about what's coming on Thursday night, girls.
Yeah, definitely. We've had a fair big prep, 6 weeks now, and then the week in camp. So, yeah, really looking forward to Game 1.
What you did 6 weeks last year and it worked. I mean, what do you do over the last 6 weeks?
We definitely just work on our systems and work on our fitness again because we've all come off from an off season. So, yeah, just working together in a big squad and then, working on those combinations.
You talk about combinations and systems. New coaches here, John Strange. What's been different there?
John's very detail orientated, so it's been unreal to have the 6 weeks. I think it's quite an advantage to be able to have the 6 weeks rather than coming in, playing NRLW and coming into that 1 day or 2 days or a week beforehand. So to be able to have him for a longer time, I think will really suit the Origin environment.
New combinations, got some new halves this year. Can you talk us through what they'll bring to the team?
Yeah, definitely. I play with Jessie at the Knights and she brings a lot of flair. She's definitely off the cuff and I love that about her. And Tiana, she's just an awesome player. She's consistent and she runs really hard. So good luck to try to tackle her.
It's not very often I get to talk to New South Wales players before the game. Can you give me an insight to the game plan on Thursday?
No way. I do not, Keely.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for your time. I'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Danica.
Thank you, Lockie. A bit cheeky there. Let's talk about the new halves combination for New South Wales because Queensland, they've sort of stuck with the team from last year, but yeah, New South Wales, a lot of changes there. The two halves this year, so we've got Jessie Southwell and Tiana Penatani as well. What's that combination like?
Yeah, I think it's a great selection from John Strange there. Jessie Southwell, she's been in the game for a little while, but she's still got so much potential, and I think under John Strange she'll do really well with his attacking plan. She's a great kicker. Tiana Penatani, I mean, she's probably had her best year of footy last year, I think, and she's got that sevens background. She's so good in defence. She's very fast. She can cover pretty much any position. We might even chuck her in the front row, who knows? But
she's very aggressive too. She defends aggressively.
Very aggressive, and that's what we want. We want to play hard and fast, and we want to get early ball our gun centres, you know, in Jess and Izzy. But going back on Queensland, there's no need to change the halves. They've got Ali Brigginshaw and Taryn Aiken. They were the Australian halves. They do the job, and they'll be tough to beat.
What about Tamika? How do you stop Tamika Upton?
You need to put at least. If you want to stop Tamika, you need to put an extra number on her every time. Whether she loves short sides, she loves identifying that in the defensive line, and she'll go if she sees that they're numbered up. You need to send an extra number if she's going that way, and that's just how you got to play her. She's a freakish player. She's so good at reading the game, and she'll also be very hard to stop.
She's unbelievable to watch. All right, before we let you go, how do you think this series is going to play out? Because obviously some great memories from New South Wales playing at Suncorp Stadium. How do you think that this one's going to go?
Look, I'd love to say it'll be a tight contest, but I don't see it. I see New South Wales. They've lost the last couple of series. They haven't won since 2022, and I see them getting it done in 2. That's what I reckon.
Okay, there you go. You heard it here first. All right, we're looking forward to all the action. Of course, Women's State of Origin kicks off this week, Thursday night rather, and tickets are still available as well. So head to NRL/tickets. But stay with us, because coming up next on Freddy the 8th, looking forward to this one, Josh Kerr, the microwave man, joins us from the Dolphins, and he has brought the thing that has made him a beast. You don't want to miss this. Oh, welcome back to Freddy and the 8th, the show. It is on the road, and we are getting a little loose here in Queensland. And we are lucky enough to be joined by someone very special to the show, Josh Kerr, Dolphins' absolute superstar, and you have brought the microwave. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, you've got to give the story.
Well, apparently, the story is that's going around from Salty, our special man.
So Peter Basolda said this in 9 commentary the other day.
The reason why I was so tall is because my parents used to put a microwave next to my head when I was asleep at night to help me grow. So that's the story. I'll live with it, and I'll spread it like that. So my old man will be at home with a smile on his face.
So your dad, he is quite the storyteller, isn't he?
Oh, he definitely is. I used to come home and all my mates would come over just to hear him talk. So he's got a few yarns, old Johnny boy, but yeah, that one's probably the top
and so
of it.
he sat around at the dinner table and told people this story, that's the reason that you're so tall.
Just quick-witted humour. They always used to ask him, how did I get so big? And he'd just go straight away. Well, we didn't used to tell Josh this, but we put the microwave next to his head. So the secret was to take off the bloody framing and stuff so the microwaves would get into me. So if you're at home, please don't do that. My career's too flimsy to survive a lawsuit like that. So.
Did he have a big impact on your life, your dad?
Oh, he reckons he did, but he definitely did, as anyone's parents do. But he wanted me to play Aussie rules. But I wanted to play at a place called D Bay Raiders as a kid growing up, and you know, when I made the choice that I wanted to play rugby league, he said, "No, mate, you go on to Redcliffe." You know, he goes, Arthur Peterson went through there, Petro Seven-Asiva, Brent Tate, Michael Crocker, if you remember Michael Crocker. Lunatic. So so I ended up going there, and you know, the rest is history.
This year for the All-Stars game, you got up and spoke after the game, and I've got to say it's one of the best speeches I've heard after a game by a rugby league player. And you spoke how important the All-Stars is. Tell us why it's so important, the Indigenous All-Stars.
Yeah, when I did it too, I couldn't feel my legs. I get awfully nervous when I'm in those situations too. And yeah, I can't feel my legs right now while I'm here. But no, it's affecting my feeling. But no, it's a special week. You know, you don't really realise the impact it has until you go into the week and you see what it means to a lot of other people. And you kind of go in. I always had this idea that I'd go in as a football player, and you know, just want to go in and do my job. But then when you go out to these communities and see what people have been through, you hear the different stories, not just from our camp, but from the Maori All-Stars as well.
It's got to continue.
Exactly right. Well, we always have that. And I think, you know, I don't want to speak too ahead of myself now, but I think it might look at evolving itself because of, I think Vegas eats up because, you know, Vegas is the next week. But I don't want to reveal too much at all.
So do you think it maybe it has a different place in the calendar going forward?
That's what we're thinking.
So you say you want to come to Vegas?
Well, no. I'll put my hand up straight away saying I'd love to get on the plane to Vegas. But no, it's I think obviously if you go to Vegas, you take away what it means for all the people back home. And so it was a big talking point in camp. We wanted to get everyone together and speak about, you know, what we would think would be best for the game and for our communities and that. So that's just,
Player I love watching playing is Izzy Katoa. tell us playing with him, and where do you think he can get to in the game?
Mate, it's so crazy to think that I think he's 19. Like, I'm 29. You know, I know I look like he's like 43, but he's just the head that he's got on his shoulders, mate, as such a young player. He just, like I said before, I don't know if Wolfie's had a word to him or anything this year, but he's taken his leadership role and his football skill up to a whole new level this year. He's talking in meetings, he's taking control on the football field. He's like that field marshal, you know, you can just hear everything he's saying. He takes control of everything, and the sky's the limit for him. I don't know the situation with if he's eligible for New South Wales or not, because he plays for Tonga, but
you know, he's available.
He is available. Yeah, I bet you would have known about it. I did, so do I. You would have.
We just saw that pass against Penrith over the top. You were compared to Arthur Beetson then. How does that make you feel? Like Arthur is one of the greats.
Mate, obviously, you know, puts a smile. I call up my dad straight away, and he tells me we just, you know, like that's. Arthur Beetson and Josh Kerr should not be mentioned in the same sentence together. But mate.
I'm talking. The best commentators were saying that was Beetson like. And considering Arthur was from the Redcliffe area.
Exactly, yeah.
So that must sit really special.
Oh, it does. I'd be lying if it said it didn't fill me with like a sense of joy. But yeah, like I just, you know, it's Arthur Beetson. I can't, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I can't. The things that man did in this game, and you know, just to be mentioned like that is. You know, makes me feel 10 foot tall. Like I said, I got on the phone to my dad. It was just such a proud moment. We just on the phone talking about, oh my God, he was telling me what they said, and I went back and watched it. He sends me like 20 videos of it. And to be able to do that and have my parents be proud of me for a moment like that is a pretty cool feeling as well.
Talk about Arthur Beetson, you were part of Origin in 2020. And the one thing I noticed was you got on with Wayne very well. And I wanted to ask you, like, getting the opportunity to go back to the Dolphins where he was coach, what was that like?
It was awesome. I remember being in the camp, and he was actually, we're playing 500. He loves the game of 500, and he was always my partner. And he was talking about, we were asking him what he's pretty open to about it, which is pretty cool with Wayne Bennett. Like we were saying, mate, what's the go? Because he was off contract. There was talk of another team coming into NRL, and he said, oh, mate, apparently he thought it was going to be the Ipswich Jets. And I said, mate, if it's going to be a club up there, it's got to be Redcliffe Dolphins. I've been telling everyone for years, even when I was at the Dragons and at Melbourne Storm, I was telling everyone for years, Redcliffe's just such a good. I couldn't believe how they were never an NRL club. They had such a great junior base, a development system. They just had everything that you'd think it requires of an NRL team. And he goes, oh, really? You really think so? And I said, mate, I promise you it is. And he goes, if they come into it big freaky, he's called me big freaky for some reason. I don't know why. He goes, if they come into the NRL big freaky, you'll be the first person I call. So I remember one day they got announced one day, and I was at a cafe with the Butte boys then in Wollongong. Yeah. My phone rings, Wayne Bennett, and I was like, what? How does he remember like his old age and stuff? You know, so it was crazy. Yeah, it was cool.
Have you seen his tooth? He's missing tooth.
No, I was saying it before. Paul Wayne's back on the crack pipe. So, I'm joking. I got my media manager there. He's going to rip my head off in a second. So. I love you, Wayne.
Oh, that is so good. Thanks so much for joining us here on Freddy in the 8th.
Oh, buddy, I'm in trouble now.
You're on this show every week now.
Yeah, you've got a regular spot now. This is exactly what we're about. Congratulations on what's been some great performances for yourself, and we look forward to seeing you in action. You better take your microwave and...
anything in it?
Anything?
No, I got a baby on the way in August, actually, so I know what the formula is. So, how good's that?
All right, well, stick around. We've got plenty more. We're going to be previewing some big weekends here at Magic Round as well, so that's coming up straight after the break. Welcome back. Well, when it comes to fans, they don't get more die-hard than this. 2 Newcastle fans have made the trip to catch a glimpse of the 8th Immortal, and we know that there is a special tattoo on this lady as well. She has the face of Andrew Johns and the signature of Andrew Johns as well. We won't ask her to show us. Oh, hang on. There we go. There you go. And that is, we witnessed you sign that, and the next day she went and got a tattoo.
Yeah. Pulled up the car and I signed it.
Yeah. We were leaving Suncorp Stadium, and she was chasing us in the car, and you jumped out, you did the kind thing, signed the leg, and then the next day.
I must have been medication that day. It was nice.
All right, well, speaking of having a crack, she was certainly having a crack with that tattoo, so let's dive straight into having a crack.
Told us about Wayne.
Thanks to Sportsbet. We've got some great ones across the weekend of footy. What about the Tigers, their defensive effort in those last minute or so against the Cronulla Sharks on Sunday?
They just found a way. I still can't believe they didn't.
Look at this tackle.
Lockyer.
Oh.
On Hazelton too.
On Hazel.
Next tackle.
And then the next tackle, is it Stafford Tower pulls this one off?
Yeah.
That was incredible.
And goes
Meant to
Mera,
be.
Atkinson.
That was some day there.
That was.
I know it's in the 70s, that ground, and it's not up to standard. Everyone knows, but to play a couple of games there a year, it's so special.
And then our second moment of having a crack from the weekend was Ben Hornby had to stand in for the post-match press conference because Wayne Bennett couldn't do it because he was missing his front tooth.
Well, I reckon because they got beat by Melbourne and his record against Bellamy isn't that fantastic. I reckon everyone was thinking, oh, you know, there's something about this, and all of a sudden he's got no tooth.
No, because I spoke to people who were at the ground. They were supposed to do interviees with him prior to
Freddie was
the
saying
game.
it was to fit in with the supporters at
No, so he was, he ate something that day and, chipped the tooth straight off.
Yeah, wow.
I know exactly how he feels. It's happened to me before. So, yeah, remember I chipped my tooth and I had to come to a game and we had the photo of it. And
you're on the pipe too.
All right, let's preview quickly. Saturday afternoon, one of Nine's Wide World of Sports games, 2 p.m. coverage starts between the Rabbitohs and the Knights. Your Knights, they need a win. They need it badly.
Adam Elliott's back. He'll add a lot. They've had a couple of forwards out. Daniel or Jacob Safudi, one of them.
Yeah, Jacob, yeah.
So they get getting some troops back. For South, no Latrell, no Cody still. I think the Knights will win.
All right, what about Sunday afternoon footy? All the action from 3 p.m. Panthers up against Broncos, Freddy. Panthers, can you see them getting a win?
Well, if you look last week, they held the ball and they beat the Roosters quite convincingly. They ended up scoring 40 points. So they've got it in them without a doubt. They've got the class to keep them in the game. They've just got to be able to keep the ball.
Mitch Kenny, I miss him.
Yeah.
And I miss Sorensen too.
All right, some big games coming up. All right now though, let's get a quick market update with Sportsbet.
There's magic milestones in the Raiders taking on the Melbourne Storm. Pappy and Eli Katoa game 100, Tarpany game 200. Go to the NRL Weekly Hub. Either of the three milestone men to be the first try scorer, $6. Enjoy the match.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
All right, well, they are already fired up here in Queensland, ready to go for Magic Round. Gentlemen, who's the big week for?
Newcastle Knights.
Yeah.
They got to win. Simple as that.
I'm going to say the groundkeeper.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Oliver.
What about our man
Suncorp's
Albo?
under pressure.
Relaying, what is it?
What about him?
Election.
Saturday.
There you go. All right, thanks for joining us here for Freddy in the 8th. Enjoy the footy, enjoy Magic Round, behave.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.